Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, this is a treat for me because I got Jeff Altieri, who is a lead singer of a band, one of my favorite bands of all time called Enrage out of Staten Island, on with us. And what a treat, man. The idea, Jeff, that I can link up with you on Facebook and here we are, it's freaking crazy, man. As much as we hate Zuckerberg and all that stuff, man, at the end of the day, it's a force for good. I actually, long story short, I have two half sisters I didn't know about until about 4 years ago that one reached out to me on Facebook. And I was like, holy crap. We always
I
had
know.
that idea. Crazy, man. The people you come to meet that you haven't seen or talked to in years. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Jeff, appreciate you being on here, man.
Appreciate being on. I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
like you said, Facebook is a love-hate thing. It's like
Yeah.
you reach out to people, like you said. So originally I was like, but yeah, you're right. You're right. You get to meet up with people. So that's
Well,
true.
I got off Facebook in I was getting too political. It was really starting to piss me off. Then in 2017 or 18, I said, this doesn't make me happy. So I just got off it, and I'm not saying my politics have changed or anything like that. I just don't really care that much anymore. So I'm just like, whatever, man. So as long as you do it for what's supposed to be done, which is meeting up people and spreading good news, all's good, man. And you can't beat the dog memes. There's tons of dog memes on there, and if you like dogs, like where else are you gonna find better stuff than that on Facebook?
It's true. I logged off. I remember I logged off a few years ago, like you said, just getting sick of it. And then I still have so I logged off my personal page, but I still had Enrage going,
Yep.
And thank God I just randomly checked it one day.
Yeah.
And if I didn't check it, I would have missed our opportunity. We went to Europe. The band went to Europe. So that's when it hit me. I'm like, I'm never logging off Facebook again.
Whoa. So you were basically just, I'm off, I'm done with these guys. And one day you just happen to check the Enrage Facebook page and some dude in Europe say, come out and play.
And I missed his messages because I wasn't logged. Yeah. So thank God I just randomly was like, let me check the Enrage page, not my personal page.
Ah.
So let me check the Enrage page. And thank God I did. But I had to log on back to my personal page to get onto the Enrage page.
Yeah.
So I tried to do it like at 3:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
And thank God I did, because we would have missed out on going to Europe.
Man, that's crazy.
So after that, I was like, all right, I'm not. Every once in a blue moon, I'll just like take a break. But like for me, for what I do with my job, I have to be on social media.
Yeah.
So it's part of the job. Not even with my bartending and promoting and booking bands. So I have to be on social media. And now in post 2020, like if you're in a band, you have to be on social media.
Were you ever on MySpace when it was big? Did you all do that? Yeah.
Enrage basically got back together because of MySpace.
Okay.
So my brother.
So before we start, so here's a 7-inch I got from you guys. You know this one?
Yeah.
Is that you right there?
That's me.
Hey, you've lost a lot of weight, man.
I lost a lot of weight.
How'd you do that?
I gained back 30. I gained back 30 pounds since the pandemic. I'm like a cliche. So I was one of those people.
You're a big guy, aren't you? I mean, how tall are you?
Yeah, 6'5".
Oh yeah, so I figured you're a big guy. So
yeah,
how'd you lose the weight first of all? Just going like freaking low carbs or something like that? You know what I'm saying? How'd you?
Just basically good old fashioned diet. Yeah. No pill, no surgery. Just that my wife kind of inspired me, and then so I went on a diet, and I lost over 100 pounds.
Man.
And then I was getting big. And then my wife inspired me, and my uncle unknowingly. My uncle wasn't really that. He wasn't like morbidly obese. He was like your regular overweight guy, and he had a heart attack. And that's when it kind of hit me. So I went on a diet, and I lost I got over 100 pounds. And then then in 2020 during lockdown, I became that guy. I'm home, I'm doing nothing. So I'm eating and drinking. And so I gained 30 of it back. And I keep saying, yeah, I'm going to lose the 30. The pandemic. And my wife was like, that was 4 years ago now. I'm like, all right, don't worry.
So you're bartending, you're playing, I want to get in the band, obviously. But before I want to say, so you're bartending you're producing shows, you're setting up
Yeah,
shows for all kinds of bands too, not just
yeah.
hardcore or anything like that.
No, hardly any hardcore. Yeah, hardly
Is there
any
any?
hardcore.
I mean, I hate to say I'm 53. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Thing. No, well, no, 52. I'm gonna be 53. Yeah.
All right, so I mean, I don't even know what is there still even a hardcore scene and going on in New York? And I mean, I don't know, man. I think
In New York, definitely.
okay,
Staten Island, a little bit,
all right,
a little bit. But in New York, definitely. Yeah, yeah,
all right, yeah.
yeah.
There'll probably always be a hardcore scene in New York. I don't know. I grew up in D.C. area, so that's kind of where I haven't been back in many years. I
Well,
just
I
don't.
always like hardcore is for the kids, so the
Yeah,
kids know more than we do. You
yeah,
know,
100%, man. I
that's how it is.
It's funny. So I've lately I've reverted back to my metal days. Frankly, it's kind of interesting. You know, back in the old
Same.
days, you know, hardcore and metal did not mix, and then you know, all of a sudden out of nowhere, like agnostic front stuff started, and DRI started to kind of do the crossover, and it's kind of weird. But all right, so Jeff, you're like when you do bands, like you put on shows, do you like run a club? Are you like the owner of a club that can, or are you just kind of like a contractor? Say, I'm gonna, you know, you got the
Right.
contact.
Second part, yeah, more like freelance contractor. So it kind of came from, make a very long story short, um, being in Enrage when we were like all these kids were coming to shows. We were underage, you know, we were like 18 years old, right? So we would play these clubs, and the club would give us. There's one particular show that I always bring up. So there's one show we did in Staten Island, and there was a thousand kids for a local show. Thousand.
This when you were young too, though. This when you were a
You
kid
were
too.
kid, yeah, we were kids, you know. So
Yeah.
we didn't know it. My brother knew. It's funny. My brother's younger than me, but he knew about it. He was always business savvy.
Is that
But I was like
Marco who's on this?
Marco,
That's the one on there. Okay, Marco. That's your brother.
my brother. Yeah, he was a handsome business savvy guy. So he
He's a
and he was
drummer.
never really into hardcore. So maybe that's why he was business savvy. So we did so we did a particular show we did, and 1,000 kids showed up, and the promoter gave us, and I'm bad at math also, and the promoter gave us $100. So I forgot what that is. Was it 10 cents on a dollar? I don't know. And so we knew, like we knew that we were underage and the bar wasn't going to make that much money.
Right, right,
But we were like, it was like a $12 door.
right.
And we were like,
I
even
got
if you
you.
gave us $1 ahead, $1, we should walk out with $1,000. And we walked out 100. So after that, my brother was like, no, fuck the guy. Can I curse on here? I forgot him.
Yeah.
So he was like, yo, fuck this. So he's like, he would negotiate basically if we did an all ages show about us getting paid a certain amount of money or a percentage of the door and yada, yada, yada. And he was the one. And then he became a teacher. And then once he became a teacher, he was kind of done. He was like, I'm not playing anymore. He felt awkward doing shows and kids might showed up, and which happened, you know.
Like kids he was teaching would show up.
Yeah, my bass player too. And that's why my
Yeah.
bass player left too. Because I became a teacher, but I stayed. I stuck it out. So my brother and my bass player left because they felt awkward with the teaching thing. But basically I learned from my younger brother about putting on shows. So then I just started putting on shows. But
Like
as
how
a
like are you like now 21, 22 when you're putting on shows?
yeah. And then I kind of knew what I was doing once I hit like my mid to late 20s. I got into a groove with that, and I started really. So I'd teach, and then Friday night after teaching, I'd book a show. Saturday night, so I work, 6 days a week, basically doing that stuff. And then
And also, how are you like when you're let's say you're 26 years old and you're
yeah,
putting on shows, so you have to have contact with the band, then you have to have a contact with the place to hold the show. How does that kind of flow? Because that's they got other gigs and stuff to put on and stuff. I mean, and
with
then you
great
kind of
difficult, with
yeah,
great difficulty.
and then
Yeah.
there's got to be someone's got to get. I know the bands don't get paid. I get that, but I mean, I know they get paid a little bit. But are you the guy who's saying, "Look, man, I'm not gonna have these guys coming here for less than $1,000"? You know what I'm saying? So you don't get screwed. Like, is that you that does that, or is that the band?
Kinda, yeah, kinda. So like if I was doing like local shows, what I would do is like let's say I'm making up a number. Let's say the door was $12, right?
Yeah.
The band would get $3. I'd get $2, and the club, if it's an all ages show, would get the whole rest of the door.
Yeah.
If it was 21 and over, the band would get $5. I would get $3, and the club would get this one. So I would do it like that. If I'm booking a big band, then it's a whole different story. But that's basically how I got into it. But in punk rock, like
Yeah.
kids, if they find out you're making $1, they would think like it's unethical. So
That's
that got a little
great.
hair. That got hairy for a minute because they're like, "Oh,
Really? So you got to start
yeah, they're
taking
like,
some
you're a teacher. You shouldn't be making any money." I'm like, "All right, so I'm going to give up my weekends and do this for free."
crazy.
But yeah, so I started doing it now, and now it's all I do. That's basically that's my job.
Well, you're not
now.
a teacher anymore?
Now I got out. Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't have to tell me your personal 1040, but is there money to be made that you can support yourself being a band promoter?
Yeah. Yeah. There's enough money, and my wife is my sugar mama. So, it's like, so she makes enough money, and I make enough money. And then once I get my pension and all that stuff, I won't get it now because I retired early. So
But you
once
got enough time in the New York State system to get the pension, though.
I have enough time, yeah, but
Right.
I don't get it till I'm a retirement age.
Yeah, understood.
So
Understood.
she's waiting for me to get that, and then we switch over, and then she gets my benefit. So yeah.
So when you're putting on shows, are you like you see a band or somebody that say, "I like that band," I don't know, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, with remember the Toasters? We'll just say the Toasters or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that band. I'm gonna contact them. I'm actually talking in the old days where before we had Facebook, all this stuff. How did you say I want to? I'm Jeff. You know, I'm representing Staten Island, and I'm in a band Enrage, but I'd like to see if you want to come play at freaking Harley's Pub over here or something like that. I mean that's
I would basically email them. I would exactly like you said. I just email them and say who's my contact, and they would give me either they would say, "Well, we're on tour, so here's our tour manager, yada yada," or if they were like doing something like in between tours, they could make a lot of money because they're not touring, so they could go straight to the band, no management, and then they would hit me up. They'd be like, "Hey, we have a break between this window and that window. We like to come to Staten Island," and that's how I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're big, so people coming through Staten Island, they're going to contact you no matter what. They're saying, hey, if they got to, what I'm saying? I mean, you got enough street credit, to say, hey, they're going to contact you. You don't have to do that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Now, how about like the bars though? I mean, they like you say, hey, I got this band coming in. You're like, man, Jeff, the last time you put a band on, there was a big fight and all this stuff. We don't know. I mean, never have anything.
Knock on wood. No fights. I mean, again, I haven't booked that many hardcore shows lately. The last heavy show, like I did, what was it? Oh, in human condition. So it's like one of the guys from like Obituary and Deicide, and and what's funny is at death metal shows, there's never a fight.
Yeah,
never. And those kids drink, and that crowd, they drink. So they'll tell me, we want this much money,
right?
And they, so I got to cover their pay from the door, and then the bar makes their money, and everyone's happy. Yeah, that was the last one I did. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
But normally now with hardcore shows, like I'll do one or two younger local ones, but like even like a crazy, like let's say like even now at this point, like a Murphy's Law, Sick of It All, like the crowd is older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even the younger ones are 35.
Right, exactly. Right on.
They're not looking to fight anybody. You know what I mean?
If they are, there's something gone wrong, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we did right before the pandemic. We did. I don't know how it happened. I got so Mother Pugs, where I do a lot of the shows. I mean, it's small, it's tiny, and Sick of It All hit me up about playing Mother Pugs, and I told them respectfully, I'm like, listen, I can't afford you. Like, the room's too small. Like, I'll lose money. Like, I'm not here to make money, but I'm not gonna, take a loan out. Right. And they're like, well, how do you do your local shows? I'm like, I don't know. The bands play for the door. And they're like, all right, I swear to God, Sick of It All was like, all right, we'll play for the door. We'll play for the tour. I'm like, yeah. And their shtick was they did like a 5-borough. Again, this is before the pandemic. It was supposed to be
Right.
the 5-borough tour, where they did a dive bar in each of the 5 boroughs before the tour.
I got
And it
you.
was all pocket money. It was all pocket money to have before they go on tour.
And
So
some
this was
practice too. Probably
no
practice it.
practice, right? So it's literally this is the end of December, 2019. Before, yeah. So
Oh man, yeah, right.
literally, so and that show, like you couldn't move, but not one incident. Now, if I would have done that show 20 years ago, a
Yeah.
riot would have broke out. It was sick of it all on the same show, sick of it all, an agnostic front in a room that holds 100 people, 150 tops. And that show, I did Biohazard a couple of years before on Staten Island. Again, if I would have done that show in the 90s, someone would have died. You know what I mean? Fights, but now, it's chill. Everyone's chill. Everyone's singing along. It's the hardcore. I mean, I like that. For hardcore shows, I'd rather see people singing along, having a good time, than a fight breaking.
I hate that fight. You think? I'm just curious. You think even like the younger kids are less inclined to fight now, or you think just everyone's chilling more? I mean, I get our age. We're not fighting anybody, but
no, the younger kids will fight.
Still,
in hardcore
shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, man. I never understood I mean, I never understood why you get.
But we were like that when I was a kid. Every hardcore show, there's a fight. I didn't fight.
Show? I mean, I could see after the show, but during the show, I never understood that, man. It's like, why would you?
When you went to hardcore shows, did you have long hair?
No, I had short hair.
No, I had long hair.
But that's why.
So I was told. I was literally my skinhead friends would tell me, like, you got to stay in the back, or they're gonna kick your ass. So I just stayed away from everybody. So, but there was always, when I went to a show, there was always a fight. Always a fight. So now
I never understood why. It's like, dude, it's
a bunch of dudes who are 16 through 22, aggro, and they fight, I don't know. But I only book older hardcore bands now. I mean, I got one show coming up this summer of a younger hardcore band on the island called Cropsy, but it's going to be outside, so it's like a huge space. So they'll be okay. And when I say younger, again, we're a certain age, me and you. When I say younger, they're like 32. So again, they're not 19. So it's easier. It's easier. But I've been doing
booked out, like, man, you got to be pretty organized. And if you're booked out to the summertime for shows, I mean, you're booked.
Yeah, like I look at my job like literally like I get up and people think I'm crazy when I say this. Like I get up, I have my coffee, and I have to be on my phone like a certain amount of the day. I check my emails, I check my social media, I respond to all the stuff, and then I spend about two hours promoting. And
like when you're promoting, I mean, what do you like? I know what you do on Facebook because we're connected on Facebook, which is freaking awesome. When you're promoting, I mean, are you going like radio interview? Wait, what do you do to promote? I don't even know what you do nowadays.
It's all Facebook and Instagram. And I was up until about 2 days ago, I was about to go on TikTok, but now I hear we might be getting rid of it. So I don't know. I'm gonna hold off. If we keep TikTok, I'll go on. Because I don't know. I keep hearing different things, but everything is about social media.
Yeah, it is. Man.
I learned a long time ago. A guy I know, he he owned a bar and whatever, and he was really smart. He told me, he said, if you're just promoting, like if you're like, hey, my band is playing, whatever, it becomes white noise and no one pays attention. It becomes like that, and he's like, so what you got to do is you got to be that jerk who takes a picture of a hamburger or takes a picture of something innocuous and and you engage with people that way, because the way Facebook works and Instagram works is the more people engage with you, the more you're in a social media feed.
Yes.
People think it's like the time that you post, like if you post at 2 a.m, it doesn't work that way. Facebook and Instagram work with how much you're engaging.
100%.
So I learned a long time ago, I don't get into politics, but what I'll do is I'll post something zesty Like, I don't like brown mustard, and someone got pissed off. And if they're engaging with me, now the next time I post I got a show on Friday, I'm in their newsfeed. So I'll post something zesty like that, but not too zesty, you know.
Oh my
Too.
goodness, that is man,
The
that is
last one I did that really pissed people off, I posted about the new Crow movie coming out.
oh my goodness, yeah.
So they're remaking the Crow, and I just made fun of, like, you know, whatever, the
Right,
goth chicks who like Crow.
right.
And boom, 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 and I'm like, I sat there, I'm like, now come, come to.
Now the money will roll right in.
It's really, that's how I think of it. I swear to God, yeah.
Man, that is that. It is funny, and if it is funny though when you think about it, like it's so much easier, and yet it's so much harder because it's so much easier. I remember like back, I tried to do a show in 92 in DC. And I remember I reached out to local bands like Next Step Up and stuff, and they were like $500. This is like what 35 years ago, something like that.
That's a lot of money back then.
Well, I Clutch won like $10,000. I said, I don't have $10,000, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that was the end of my show presenting things. I said, I just
Yeah.
somebody was getting it. Like I like Clutch. I said, man, $10,000, dude. That's like a freaking house back then. I was like, crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's just like second of all, are they making any money? I mean, I'm just like they've been around for so long. Do they
They're
teach
like,
part time or are they just full time musicians? You know what I'm saying?
they're one of the few hardcore punk bands that that's all they do. I mean, their money's not made in America. It's overseas. So
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So like when I booked them, it was basically pocket money, so they can go when they go overseas. They have some money to buy, you know, beer or whatever. But all their money, like them, I think Agnostic Front, are like it's like literally like a handful of bands that can support themselves just on the music. But
Yeah.
Sycamore is one of them. But it's all overseas. I mean, we did
Really?
a show, Enrage did a show with Sick of It All, uh, overseas, and like the crowd was like the size of, like, if you go see like one of these like shed shows at the PNC. I mean, it's massive. For Sick of It All, yeah, they're big over
So
there.
when you went, how long ago did you go to Europe for Enrage?
No, now it's got to be about 5, 6 years ago,
Oh,
most
yeah.
7 maybe, yeah.
All right, so I mean, you were still a teacher at that point.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what do you do? Say I'm taking a week off to go to Europe?
No, it was during the summer. It was during the summer.
So you got paid
Yeah.
for your own airfare and all that stuff?
So basically, yeah, they took care of everything, and they were like, the promoter was a sweetheart. He was like, well, you could stay in my house and sleep in the basement or whatever. But, you know, when we're like 40 something years old, we're like, no, we'll get a hotel. He's like, but you're going to lose money. We're like, this is a European vacation. I'm on
Right,
vacation.
exactly.
I'm in Europe. I'm having a great time. I'll get a hotel room. He was a great guy. I just want to sleep. When you're 22, you'll sleep in the van. You'll sleep on the floor. You know, now I was like, no, I want a hotel. I want my own shower. You know, we would we would have made some money if we listened to him, but we broke even only because, you know, we didn't make any money. We broke even because we just chose to sleep. You know,
You're a
like a
grown
girl.
man, man. I mean, the last thing
Grown
we need.
man.
Yeah,
I
you know what
looked at it
saying?
like I'm going on vacation.
Yeah,
I'm going to be. I'm going to Belgium. I'm going to France. I'm going to Germany. I'm 40 something years old with Enrage doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm happy.
yeah, it's all
That's
good.
Yeah.
Did you ever think when you started the band that you'd be in Europe? I mean, that's pretty cool, man, to play in Europe. Did you play there
Yeah.
before, Jeff? Before this
No,
last?
that was it. Yes and no, because like what happened when we were younger, all our friends were going overseas, and we kind of missed that boat.
All your friends in bands.
Yeah, and then they were telling me like, "Yo, every time we go there, there's people bootlegging your shirts, your CDs. Like, you guys should come out here." I was like, "I don't know." By then, we thought it was over. And again, social media literally got hit up on Facebook. Here I am, like,
Yeah.
you know, we think it's over. Like, we think it's done. You know, I'm 45 years old, you know, and some guy hits me up like, hey, you want to come play Europe? And we're like, what?
You're like, okay, right.
Yeah.
You're thinking this got to be a clown. This can't, this is a Nigerian prince. You know what I'm
Exactly. Yeah. So we're thinking, you know, so imagine like now, like, you know, you go to Europe in your 20s, you know, 30s, we're in our 40s starting. going there. And so we would just, once I looked into it, I'm like, oh crap, this guy's legit. And next thing I know, we went to Europe. I think 2 summers in a row we went to Europe. So one time we did a little tour, and the next time we did a festival, and it was crazy. Yeah.
That's nuts. All right. So when
You
you
appreciate it more. You appreciate it more when you're older
oh yeah.
and you're not used to it. You know what I mean? You know.
I mean, think if you went when you're 19 or 20 years old, you're like, oh, and then think about how, in a way, that's got to suck for those guys who hit it big, for a hardcore band at 19 or 20, and then 2 years later, 3 years later, no one cares anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's gonna be.
So imagine like 30 years later, someone, and then I saw a documentary recently of some like metal band that's happened to them. And it's like we get on stage, like I'm like, who knows, and next thing you know, like there's these like hundreds and hundreds, like what? It was just surreal. It was crazy. So I would love to go back. If they want us back, we'll go back. But we'll see.
Where did you ever like tour California, Portland, Oregon, all that stuff?
No,
all over.
we did the East Coast in Europe. Nowhere in America. That's it.
So when you started the band, what, 17, 18, you said, or
Yeah,
what?
16.
So 16, you're in high school. You got friends who are in hardcore. Were you more of a
Yeah.
hardcore kid or a metal
Yeah.
kid? You had long hair, you said. More of a hardcore kid, or
Oh, I was into both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I like Exodus. I remember Exodus, Bonded by Blood.
You
One of the
loved
best
it.
albums of all
Right.
time.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know why there's got to be this. You can't like metal if you like hardcore. It's like, wow.
Right. So most of the guys I knew at that time, like if you once you got into hardcore, you were supposed to like denounce metal. Like
It's crazy, man.
Like you were supposed to be like, all right, I'm cutting my hair, I'm shaving my head, I'm gonna get my flight jacket, and like you hide your Exodus record, you pretend you never liked Exodus. Like a year ago, you liked Exodus. Like I never liked Exodus.
Right, exactly.
Well, I was like, well, I like Exodus, and I like that was always me. So yeah, so that's how we started the band. Like literally, I never thought I'd be like 50 years old still doing Enrage.
So your brother though wasn't into the music, but it looks like he was playing drums. So how did you what was the first time you heard hard music? Like you probably weren't growing up on hard music. So when was the first time you heard it? Said, man, that did something to your brain waves that said, man, I like that. What do you remember?
Like you mean metal, like in general,
Anytime, normally you hear Bee Gees or something like that growing up in the '70s, and all of a sudden you hear like, whoa, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
It was a trifecta. I think it was like Def Leppard, Twisted Sister, and Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
And then from there, you graduate, you get to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and then from there you get to Slayer and Venom and Motorhead, and it's like a drug. You're like, oh, there can be nothing.
A lot of people stop from Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. How did you say, hey? How'd you end up going to Slayer, Motorhead, and Venom and stuff? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't make that. They don't make that.
I don't know. Me and my friends, we just always looking for stuff like more extreme.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, if you like Maiden,
right,
check this out. Have you heard of these guys? And we're like,
you're always trying to one up each other. You haven't heard of these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Because when you're like 13, 12, whatever, and Iron Maiden and like Number of the Beast and the Devil, and we're like, this is the most evil. Oh my God. It's just don't let mom know. Don't let mom know. Well, listen to this. And then there's some kid who's like 17 who's like, check out Venom. We're like,
Merciful Fate. Check out these guys. You know what I'm saying?
There's a devil on the album. Like, oh my God. It's just even that like the horror movies and stuff. So it's always like the same thing. Like, you watch a horror movie and then again, you're 13, like, did you ever see this movie? Like, no. The same thing. So then, what it was funny, I think with me too, also like when I got into hardcore and punk, it was a metal dude. He was the one who got me into it. So he was like, you like fast stuff like Slayer? I was like, yeah. Like, check out DRI. I was like, how fast are they? You're like, fast. Slayer likes DRI. You're like, that's it. It's how, the trajectory.
We had a metal friend when I was in high school who said, you like DRI? I said, yeah. He goes, check out Napalm Death.
Same exact thing, yeah. You say, oh, Napalm Death. They're like, what's Napalm Death? You hear that 3 second song. What? This is the greatest thing.
Man, I'm from an island in Maine, Jeff, and so a small island in Maine, and the hardest thing we had was like Iron Maiden. We saw that was a tour, Flight of Icarus album. I forgot what the tour was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my dad moves to DC, so my parents split. So I moved to DC, and I'll never forget. I'm sitting in this car outside of Wheaton Plaza. We're eating Little Caesars with this kid. He puts on Void. It's a DC hardcore band.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "What the hell is that?" I said, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden my mind just like my whole world changed after I heard Void. I said, "I want more of that." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's crazy, man. And I was
I
like,
think I was like the first time I heard Suicidal Tendencies.
"Oh, same thing,
Uh, I was
same
like,
thing."
this
Like,
this
what?
is the coolest thing.
Literally, where's that ever been? It's the first it was Black Sabbath. The first time I heard Black Sabbath was like in 1977. I said, "That's what I like." And the same thing, Quiet Riot, Death. I remember exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. And then I heard Void. I said, "Oh, this is different." And it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It was like nuts. And then, so I come across Rage. I came across you guys like in '91. And I always want to ask you because other than like maybe sheer terror, no one actually like sang in hardcore,
Yeah.
and you did. And I always liked that, man. I always
Yeah.
like. I hated. I hated punk rock. It sounded like punk. I'm saying like I just that stuff
Yeah.
drives me up the wall. I can get a little bit of it, but the screaming just annoys me after a little bit. But you
Yeah.
sang. What was the? I mean, why did you do that? First of all, did you know you could sing? You're just like I'm going to do something different, or how did you come up
Well,
to
I
be?
can't sing, but I tried.
Yeah, we can sing
uh,
relative to other hardcore bands, man. I mean,
for
my
a
God.
hardcore guy, I could sing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I guess it's the whole metal influence. So it was just something that we kind of, I don't know. I think at the time too, in my early 20s, again, talking about the violence of the hardcore scene,
yeah,
um, for a hot minute there, I was kind of turned off the hardcore for a minute because it was getting really violent. And
yeah,
I was really getting back into like Sabbath. And then I heard Soundgarden around 88, 89. And Soundgarden kind of sounded like punk Sabbath to me. Again, I'm 19. I'm like, this sounds like Sabbath but punk. I mean,
yeah,
Chris Cornell's voice to
yeah.
me was like
Insane,
amazing.
insane.
Yeah. And so I was really getting into that kind of stuff, like Mudhoney and
Yeah,
all that grungy, dirty kind of sound. So I just said, all right, let me just try some singing, only because it felt natural at the time. And that's basically, and then I checked out Sheer Terror, and I thought that was like, I still think Sheer Terror is underrated because of that.
oh,
Yeah,
100%. One
yeah,
freaking. Oh,
yeah. And then, at the same time, Sheer Terror was doing that thing. And so I said, well, I'm not the only one doing this. So it was
yeah.
around the same time. And that's just kind of how it happened. Um, so ever since then, we've been kind of doing some of the melodic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, but the funny thing is, even with this, yeah, well, I never thought about the metal thing. I remember like Dark Angel, even Slayer, when they hit that very high pitches. You're like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was fantastic. Used to love
Uh-huh.
that. But
Mhm.
like, it didn't. Your band, it didn't even share terror. When Paul sings like that, it actually adds, I think, a heaviness to it. I'm actually surprised. I guess I know like this new metal stuff. I don't really get into that much. I
Uh-huh.
guess they kind of do that, I suppose. But I don't know. I mean, it seemed to me for hardcore bands, there's just actually add a heaviness to it that was just man.
Me too.
Uh,
But at the time, there weren't a lot of hardcore bands that were cool with it. And then,
yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Where people like, dude, you're not really, you're
right,
not really.
especially when you have long hair.
Yeah,
So, um,
yeah, right here, man. Look at that hair. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you look at that picture, I think I'm wearing a shirt. I think it's a Sam Black Church. Um, and we became pretty tight with a lot of the bands from like the
Boston.
New England,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So like us and Only the Witness and Sam Black Church.
Yeah. 100%, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we became pretty tight with them because we kind of felt like a kinship because like we weren't like tough guys, but we're
Yeah.
making heavy music.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Witness, especially Witness, they had a lot of melody. So we just like clicked and we got along really well. And the whole melody and I guess we all kind of nerdy. We all just clicked really well. And so that was starting to happen. And then around the same time, Life Agony, that, you know,
Yeah.
Keith that was singing crazy, incredibly well.
Insane. It was
And
insane.
then suddenly, Pete from Type O, he started singing, and they all sang way better than I could. So, but we were all kind of doing the same thing at some point. It just happened.
Yeah.
And but they just did it better than we could. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but still, though, they're standing on they're standing on the shoulders of you and Paul from Sheer Terror. Paul, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I never met I've seen Sheer Terror probably 5-6 times in my life.
Yeah.
I actually got jumped at a Sheer Terror show in Manchester, New Hampshire, as a matter of fact. You know what I'm saying?
Street violence for shows.
Man, I got jumped at a Blood for Blood show in Boston, as a matter of fact, too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude,
Yeah.
like that's actually it's funny, Jeff, because when I went in the Army in '88. It circled, pits and all that stuff. It's fights, don't get me wrong. But then I come out of the Army in '92, and all these guys are doing karate kicks and everything. I said, "What the hell happened, man?"
It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse.
I hate that crap, man.
Me too.
I'm old, but I always like the circle pits. Everyone's having fun. I mean, I never got.
They're doing them at the metal shows.
That's what I'm saying. At the metal shows, man, I'll never forget, I went to a Slayer, no, it was White Zombie of all bands, like in 93 or 94. And I got beat up, like in a fun way, beat up worse than I'd ever been in a hardcore show. And I saw Cro-Mags in like 87 in DC. And I was brutal then. Again, fun. But I never said, man, these metal guys, they're nuts. But they're not punching you. They're not fighting you. They're just crazy. I mean, man, it scared. I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to survive this. It was crazy.
We proactively decided to do more metal shows.
Yeah.
Purposely do more metal shows because some of the crowds, the hardcore shows, just I don't know. It's too violent now.
Well, it's like
that's me. Maybe it's my age. I don't know.
Yeah, but you even back then, I was wanting to ask you this too. Is that you said like I have no like that Cooper song. I have no posse. Or I'm by myself.
Yeah.
See, that always kind of stuck to me too, because I always said, I'm like a metal guy and hardcore guy at the same time. I enjoy both. I don't want to be part of like a gang. I don't want to be part of like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to be a guy who goes to shows and gets my frustration out and dancing. I don't want to punch anybody. But it's fun busting, running up against each other. And,
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
But it changed though, and that's why I always like Enrage, because like not only did you sing with Mel, at least a
thank you.
Melody, but
yeah, thanks, man.
But as for a guy like me, maybe an outcast, I guess, but I hated all that. We got to have a crew, and our crew's I was like, oh, I don't want anything to do with anything.
No, we were always anti-crew, and it hurt. I think it hurt the band to some extent.
You think that's always Staten Island? You think, or is that what I'm saying? Like maybe Staten Island's a bit different. Like
yeah, because it was Staten Island, and we didn't, and then we just didn't want to be associated with a crew or anything like that. Yeah. Especially being from Staten Island, we didn't. Well, from Staten Island, you're not really welcomed anyway. But
really, Staten Island's not considered like you're not down with the.
No, you're not cool from Staten Island. So yeah,
really?
that. No.
I always liked Staten Island. I thought it was
look, Sheer Terror's from Staten Island and Housing Front. But no,
wait, Sheer Terror? I didn't know that. That's interesting. They're from Staten Island too.
Paul originally, yeah. And so Roger lived on Staten Island for a long time too.
No, even with those guys, those legends, you're still not.
No, you can't. Staten Island, you got no street cred because it's a suburb. You have to. When we were like trying to like quote unquote get a record deal and make it, the record labels would tell us, "Stay here from Brooklyn."
Yes,
stay here from the Lower East Side. Yeah. Like they'll tell us like. We're not from the Lower East Side, we're from the suburb, But no, that's you couldn't say you were from the suburb, yeah. Crazy.
That's crazy. I always hated that crap. That's same Black Church was. I don't know if they're still around, but that was man.
They just did a reunion show. They did a reunion show Halloween weekend. Yeah.
No kidding, man. So you're still in contact with all these guys. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Any of these guys ever, I'm hopefully sick of all, but any of the guys ever make any money at all, or is it just all labor of love, man? You know what I'm saying? Because
I don't know if they did. I
not just no idea. But bands that you've come across. I mean, how do you do that, Jeff? Like being a band and still, you got kids?
Not that I know of. Yeah. So like, I just do it for the love of it. It's cliche, but you know, the love of it, I do it. Yeah.
It's got to be
I'm
fun
not here to
singing
make
songs.
money. No, I'm not here to make. I don't make money. I just met with our old bass player today, right before I came here, and he does cover bands, and he does, you know, he makes decent money doing a cover band thing. And we were talking about him coming back. And I said, "You're not going to make any money with Enrage. You can go play like a Foo Fighters cover, and you know you can make, you know, a couple $100 for 3 hours of work. That ain't gonna happen with us." I'm like, "You're gonna make like $3." You know, so you do it for the love of it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's like the only thing you
it's
can do.
cliche, but it's true.
Yeah, but still gotta feel good, be up on stage and having people singing your songs, even though they're all
That's the
older.
best. It's a high. It's literally
100%, man.
it's the strangest, especially when it's Europe. They don't even speak English, and they're singing songs I wrote when I was 19 years old. That was great.
Yeah.
That's just
I just
it's
want to
worth
say,
it.
man, that I tell you, the songs that your songs meant a lot to me. Like Better Days, I listen to that all the time. I tell you,
Thank you, brother.
I tell you, that's you know, there's some tough times when I first got out of the army. I was not in a good place, and that song hit me like, and I was like, man, that really. I'm not was about to off myself or anything like that. But when
Right.
times was down, I always remember that. I said, what I liked about that, and what I like about you is you had the same kind of mentality I've had. It's just like, hey, I'm just a guy here. You know what I'm saying? And then you had, you know, your other landfill kings where you say punk rock's not paying the bills. I said, this guy's just trying to make ends meet, man. And I
Yeah.
always without being a freaking tough guy, without freaking
No.
yeah.
No.
All right, man.
No, I got, you know, I got my ass kicked out of leeway show. Um, and I tore my ACL. And ever since then, I don't go on the front at shows anymore. I'm
Like you were
done.
dancing your tour, you got like
I don't
hit.
even think I was dancing. I think just some skinhead dude flew into me, and I pushed him. He was a little guy. I'm a 6'5" guy. Like, you know, fuck off. I pushed him off. Next thing I know, it's like 5'6" of them. Boom, 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 you know. And I had long hair. You know, it's easy when you have long hair. They pull your hair. You know, they kicked my ass in 2 seconds. I stood up thinking I'm tough. I'm like, all right, well, I'm back up. I didn't know my ACL was torn, and I came back
Oh,
home. So
man.
ever since then, I retired from that kind of stuff. Again, I was in my 20s, so it's been a long time.
That's yeah, pretty much me too. Like I said, when I got jumped at Blood for Blood show in '97, it was literally the last time I ever drank beer that night. As a matter of fact, I said, you know,
Yeah.
I'm stepping back here. You know, I'm by then I was 27 years old. I said, you know, this isn't the same scene I remember from the '80s. So that's okay. People change.
Getting jumped is a life changing moment. Fighting is different, but getting jumped is a
Uh-huh.
big.
Especially when
I
it
got
comes up
jumped.
behind you. You know, exactly.
Yeah, I got jumped. The biggest time I got my ass kicked. So Staten Island is like the home of the Guido. You know Guido. You know the Guidos are. Picture the Jersey Shore show, and so
Altieri sounds you're definitely not Irish, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
no, the Italian. You know, Goomba, wannabe Tony Soprano. You know, so I was going to a diner. It was like 4 in the morning, and we did a show with a bolt thrower, and so me and, you know, metal kids are walking diner, and so these guys jumped us. And same thing, I had my long hair in a ponytail,
Yeah.
and I used to wear it like in a Rastafarian hat, like in a bun.
All right. All right.
'Cause I learned from CB's because I didn't want to get my ass beat at CB's, so I'd wear it. And some guy was smart enough; he knew when he took my hat off, my hair came out. They beat the crap out. So that was the worst. It was, you know. So you can be 6'5" and 300 pounds, but you can't fight 15 guys. I did okay because there was 15 of them, but okay, but not that good. Yeah, but those days are over. I'm too old for that. I got gray hair. I'm done. Yeah.
It's better to be a lover, not a fighter. That's what I always say, man. All these guys are still probably pissed off. They don't have any women in their lives, and they're just like,
No,
you know what
I
I'm saying?
pride myself that somehow my nose never got broken. Well, that day when I got my butt kicked, I remember my friends were laughing. So I look like Rocky Balboa, like my eye, I'm bleeding, everything. And the first thing I said was, "Is my nose broken?"
Oh man, and
Like,
teeth. You got your teeth in the nose. You know what I'm saying?
my teeth was still in, my lip was out, my eye, you know, everything. My ear was all kicked in. I just got like, my nose broken. They're like, you don't look good, Jeff. I'm like, I'm touching
Oh,
my nose. I'm like, all right, I'm okay. My nose ain't broken. Yeah.
I tell you, man, I don't miss any of that. That's for sure. I miss shows. But I don't miss like we saw there's like a kind of stoner metal band called Telekinetic Yeti. I took one of my daughters to out here in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, by the way. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun, man. There's no one bouncing around or anything, but it's
Yeah.
just I love like live music. It just you're just live heavy music still does something to you, man. It
I mean,
does.
yeah, I love it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bounce around. I mean, hell, I'm 53 years old, like you know what I'm saying?
I'm
I'm
done.
only 5'9". I'm just a
Yeah.
small guy. So, but I was like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. But it was kind of cool though when taking I got 4 kids and taking my
Mhm.
daughter down there and just having she's like 20 years old and having a blast.
That's great.
Yeah, dude, totally. Well, my oldest daughter took me to a couple of her, more kind of like punkish bands. I say it's cool that my kids are kind of into this, and
That's
again,
cool.
it's different. It is, man. But I'm not, I'd never gotten like never much like the Beastie Boys or anything like that. The kind of hip stuff. But I always like the harder stuff, and seeing my kids are kind of into that. They can like whatever the hell they want. I don't care. But it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Your
That's
wife
great.
is your kind of music or what?
Not the hardcore. Now that what's funny is like, so when I started dating her, I started telling her like, you're gonna meet some scary people, and so like when she's like, so recently we saw Agnostic Front in Atlantic City, and so I'm very fortunate. I'm friends with them and yada yada. So my wife is taking pictures with the guy, skinheads, all tattooed,
Yeah,
and so like her friends like, what the hell are these scary guys?
Oh man.
So she's like, I never thought I'd be, knowing. She's like, they're all nice guys though. They look scary, but they're nice guys.
Well, they're old
She's
too. I mean,
younger.
that's the thing is, you get older, you become
Yeah.
nicer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty.
she's a lot younger than me. So she grew up on like, you know, uh, kind of like Alice and like her whole thing growing up when she was a kid was like Alice in Chains and
Yeah,
Evanescence and Corn, and
yeah,
that's like her,
yeah.
when she grew up.
That's
So when I'm telling her about like Agnostic Front, she's
right.
like, yeah, no. But like I remember I said to her about like mosh pits and stuff, and she was like, "Yeah, I went to a mosh pit. When I was 15, I did Lincoln Park." I went, "Mhm. Oh, sweetie."
It's funny. I took my wife this before we're married to it. You ever remember Tree from Boston? A band called Tree from Boston? Yeah.
Yeah,
They played at the 930 Club in DC. I think the old 930 Club, if memory serves. And I took her down. It was her, and she's dating. She was dating me, but we took her. One of her friends from where I met her in college, and she goes, "Yeah." And they stayed at the bar. They didn't come down to the show or anything. And the next thing I know, I look up and you're diving off the stage. And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Yeah." And she was not. She wasn't impressed. I said, "Wasn't that cool?" She's like, "Yeah, not really. Why don't you just take me home? It's cool. It's been, you know what I'm saying?" But 25 years later, Jeff, we're still married, and she gave me 4 children, so it worked,
beautiful.
I guess. But I'd say, yeah,
Yeah,
man, you just see me diving off the stage, getting the freaking pitch, gonna be awesome. You're gonna think I'm tough. Nope, she didn't find
yeah.
that appealing at all.
No, no, no. They don't
No.
like that stuff. No, but yeah,
Yeah,
we're
this is
lucky
good
guys.
stuff, man. It's been a blast for me, man. I'm much obliged to you, and I just so
Thank you.
yeah, we got Jeff Enrage on Facebook, and now you're on. Let me ask you actually real quick, and I'll let you go. But I'm not. I just got on Twitter the other day because you have to. I'm independently. I
Yeah,
do independent. I'm self-employed. Is what I'm trying to say.
right.
You got to be on social media. It sucks, but it's what nature of the beast. Is
Necessary evil. Yeah,
I'm not on Instagram. Is that working for you pretty well, or is it? Yeah.
more than Facebook.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
It's
What I do is so if I'm doing my promote, and not Enrage so much, but my promotions of the other bands,
right.
90% of it's on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And then
You
you can
find,
share it to Facebook after. You could share it to Facebook. It's the same company, but but Instagram just for younger people.
yeah, I was
Well,
to
the
say a little
kids
bit younger. Yeah.
when I was teaching, the kids would tell me like, "Oh, Facebook, I don't know, old people," and then the kids would tell me flat out that what they would do is they would make a Facebook profile
Right.
for like their mom and dads to see. So let's say Christmas, anything wholesome. You know,
Right.
I'm at the mall, but meanwhile, Instagram and Snapchat, that's where they would block their parents. So I book a lot of younger bands, bands in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Facebook to them, that's but Instagram. So now again, my friends are telling me like, well, Instagram is starting to become like Facebook. Now you got to do,
TikTok.
TikTok and Snapchat. I'm like, all right. So I hire a girl. She's 30, and she does the door for me at my shows. So I'm like, all right, tell me about a TikTok.
Right.
It's like, well, I want to know if I go on yet. They may ban it. They may ban it. I'm like, all right, if they don't ban it, tell me about TikTok. I'll give it. Because she used to tell me like, Jeff, you're old. You got to get on TikTok. I'm like, yeah. But now I might have to do it too.
That's
But you got to get on Instagram. That's the way to go.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to get a younger Facebook because I do financial planning and most of my clients are older.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's
Facebook's
great.
perfect, but still, there's a bunch of young people in there that
Yeah.
young being 40s and 30s. Hell, my wife's on Instagram.
Remember, 30 is that's young for us.
That's for us, but for them, it's not. It's for
sure. They're all. When I say I book these kids, they're 30 years old. So, but they're not on Facebook. They
got mortgages to pay. They got, they're trying to pay the bills too. Just, some of them got kids. It's not like they're 16 like you were. I mean, they're
so in my mind, your mind, they're kids, but they're 30 something years old. But if I want to book their band, they're not using email. They're definitely not using Facebook. So I'm on Instagram, and so that's what I do. I'm on my Instagram a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's the kick in the butt I need. I need to get on there, and that's okay. It's what it is. And then probably 2 years from now, we'll revisit. We'll be both on TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
All right, you got it. Yeah.
You got a YouTube channel or anything, Jeff?
We do, but I'm barely on it. It's all our old stuff. But once we put out the new stuff, we're gonna be back on YouTube. And I was telling my guitar player the other day, we're making this new stuff, and I'm like, what sucks is that even if the song is the greatest song written, who knows? If people don't know about it on social media, no one's going to hear it. So, in my mind, while he's making the songs, I'm like, how do I get this in 30 seconds? That's going to keep someone's interest on Instagram and TikTok, because it's got to be less than a minute because they're doing this.
And that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like on YouTube, they have these things called shorts. You got to keep them under a minute. That's tough.
And YouTube only did that because of Instagram and TikTok.
100%, man. Absolutely.
So
they're promoting it like crazy too, by the way.
Because they're trying to keep up. Yeah. So we're in a weird state right now because either people are doing podcasts where it's an hour or more, or under 30 seconds.
100%.
It's a weird time, yeah. So people either have a great attention span or nothing. So I don't know. It's hard to figure out, but I'm trying to navigate that.
Well, you do
so
both.
I know I figured it out with my promotion, but I have to navigate that with Enrage, with the band. So that I'm learning.
That's it's not easy. And that's what's it makes it fun, but it makes it a challenge too at the same time. All right. Well, if when you're done with the new stuff, man, let me know. And I'll definitely.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But Jeff, I really appreciate you being here, man. It's good.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
I don't care what they say, but keep make sure you get that Enrage done for sure. I can't wait to listen.
I promise I will. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll see you. God bless. See you, man.
We good.